Okay. All right. Well, good evening, everyone. I see that the magic hour has arrived. So welcome to all my very fine trustees and to Carol visiting from staff and to our new library director, Amy. So I'm going to start, I call the meeting to order. And as you know, I have to read this, a message, something like this. This is an open meeting being conducted via remote participation. There are no members gathering physically. Members of the public may attend this meeting virtually by accessing the link which was published in the meeting notice. A recording of the meeting will be posted on the city's website as soon as we're able to do so. Votes will be taken by roll call. And rather than calling the roll right now, I will see that we have Library Director Amy Rillinger present. Toby Reed, trustee, is present. Beth Gould is present. Cindy Lawrence, our new trustee, is present. Judy Lusk is here. Linda Binns, our outgoing trustee, is present. Mahesh Patel, Diane Mangiarotti, whom we can now see, and staff member Carol is here. And oh, it looks like Heidi is here as well. Hi, Heidi, welcome.
Hi.
So I'm going to ask you all to locate your mute buttons and welcome to speak when you need to speak. Just unmute yourself, but in the interest of good Zoom protocol, we'll make liberal use of the mute button. And I thank you for that, and I look forward to the day when we don't have to worry about mute buttons anymore and we can meet in person. And I think that's getting closer and closer at hand. So let's begin by reviewing the minutes of the February 10th meeting, which were sent to you in advance. I will pause here for 2 minutes. So read over your minutes and sing out if you have any additions, corrections, edits to be made. Does anyone need more time? Okay, are there any corrections to the minutes?
Just one.
Diane?
When I presented Cindy Lawrence's name, the spelling sounds the same, but it's different. Lorinczz.
Good catch. Let's see. So that's on, where did you find it? Page
Under
2?
unfinished business trustee candidates.
Got it. Okay, so got that, Tricia? All right, so Tricia will make that. Are there any other changes? All right, hearing none, I will accept the minutes as presented with that one correction. And according to Robert's Rules of Orders, we no longer have to vote that, so I won't go through that process. All right, so next on the agenda is the treasurer's report. Mahesh, it's all yours. And you are muted, my friend.
Hi. Amy has presented warrant number 9, and if you can go through the all the expenses for this month, the total comes to $3,123.85. If you can look at any expenses, any questions on expenses that has been presented. Okay.
Could someone from staff tell us about the bilingual backpack? Which is
Sure, there's,
right?
you wanted to know more about the bilingual backpacks?
Yeah, just out of curiosity.
Sure, they're kits. They're literally backpacks in the kids' room that have different books and tools that are geared towards children to learn different languages. I want to say there's like 5 or 6 different languages. I don't remember off the top of my head. But you know, it's CDs and dictionaries and picture things. We just started promoting them again in the latest newsletter and online.
Okay, thanks. Any other questions on any of the expense items? Remind me how frequently we pay Hoopla. Is that a monthly expense?
I was looking at it, Charles. We have budget for $3,000. And we have spent, I think the balance is left is $1,545.89. If you look in the budget section of the finance, A18.
Yeah, so I misspoke last month. It is a monthly expense and it's a pay per use type of thing. And I asked Carrie to look back through the notes, and we've budgeted about $1,100 a month when we first signed on for this. And so we are a little bit under budget at the moment, which is great. But people are using it more and more all the time.
Yeah. Amy, I was talking to Amy about Hoopla, and she said we can tweak it to correct the expenses too. So we are okay. We got enough money to see us through this fiscal year.
Good. Okay. Any other questions? Mahesh, you want me to move this money from Rockland Trust into our operating account?
Yes, please. $3,123.85.
Okay.
And we have the balance in the Santander Bank of $8,969.45.
Say it again, 8,000.
8,969.45.
Got it. Okay. Great. Any questions for Mahesh? If I remove my cat, it would help. All right. May I have a motion to accept the treasurer's report as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Let's see. You have to remind me to do roll call. Mr. Patel is obviously in favor. Mrs. Mangiarotti,
Yes.
Mrs. Gould,
Yes.
Mr. Reed,
Yes.
Mrs. Svensson,
Yes.
Mrs. Lusk.
Yes.
Okay. Treasurer's report is accepted. Thank you very much. And I will see that that money is moved tomorrow.
Okay, thanks. Yeah.
Let's move to the director's report. Amy, take it away.
Sure. So I gave you a written report for you to peruse. I don't want to just read it to you, but I will sort of hit on the highlights. And that is that we have reopened. We're publicizing it as anticipated hours. We're going for that same thing we were doing before with 9 to 12 and 1 to 4 on most days, but then Thursdays were 1 to 4 and 5 to 8. We did have one Thursday that we couldn't open because there was not enough staff to cover all of the points we needed covered. So we just went back to curbside for that day. We're working really hard to pull in some volunteers. I know we're open tomorrow and we expect to be open next Thursday as well. Staff is a little bit of a rotating schedule right now. Looks like our new hire, Stephanie, is gonna, I know she's interviewing for the 16-hour position. We've got some external candidates as well. If she gets it, we'll be interviewing again. And again, it feels like we're always hiring staff, but we're they're just rotating through positions. Carol is working roughly part-time. Paul, or half-time. Paul is not back yet. He is home, he is recovering, but he has said he's not ready to do, his job is, you know, walking around the building, pulling holds with a heavy cart. So we're subbing for that for now. We'll be interviewing assistant directors, candidates soon. And then the city budget is coming up. And I've been working with Carol and various other department heads on that and learning from City Hall how to get budget numbers into Munis, which has been exciting. It's level funded, except for we'll talk about E-rate later, I assume. So we're going to work on that. Building is going, it's bonkers. The crane today was just huge and moving awful HVAC stuff off of the roof. There's people in and out of the building. We never know where they're going to show up, but we've made a good, they're working around us, we're working around them, and they are very close to being on schedule. The next item is a new thing, the Little Free Library. There is a young man, Guhan, who's been coming to the library for a very long time. He's very passionate about books and reading, and really credits our library with helping him sort of find his place in the world. And so he has this Eagle Scout project that has recently been approved to do a series of themed little free libraries around the city. I have quite an extensive package from him that I can share with you once it's been scanned. He would like to make a presentation to the board if you would like to hear him speak. He has also asked the Friends of the Library if he could speak to them as well. He's looking for funding, but he also wants to let you know what he's doing.
I think it would be great to have him make a presentation at the next meeting, which is April 14th. We can
I
put
just
right,
want
right at the top of the agenda.
just on that note, I'm making one free library box for my daughter in Sharon.
Oh,
So
wonderful.
yeah, she was talking about it. I went Googled it, and I'm almost done with the that box. She want to put it on her street.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Is that, you mean to borrow books and leave books and?
Yeah, so they're not library books. Like you don't need a card. You know, you just swap. It's sort of a take one, leave one thing. There are a few up in the city already. Guhan's idea is he wants a science fiction one. He wants a mystery one. And that's the library partnership will. So each of his little free libraries will include the library paraphernalia, right? It'll have bookmarks with our hours and how to get a library card and calendars and that sort of thing, but also curated book lists. Like if you like this book, this author, try more like this. And then So that's really our extent of it, and we'll help him with donations. You know, the things that get dropped, we can't use all the donations that we get. He does understand that, you know, if somebody takes a science fiction book, they might leave a picture book instead. So he's very excited. He wants to talk more about it with folks. He's, you know, it's pretty impressive. I'm looking forward to having you guys meet him.
We have one in our neighborhood. Take a book, leave a book,
Mhm.
and it's been, I think it's been successful. It's just been put up back in the fall.
So a family owns it and runs it?
No, it was like a joint effort. One family volunteered to have it on the side of their yard, and one gentleman said he'd build it, and he painted it and he installed it. And now people, you know, leave books, take books. So
Yeah, that's how it works, you know.
Mhm.
My daughter's got about 20 kids in her street, all about the same age. So, you know, instead of parents buying the books, they just read and just leave it in the in that box. And then you take one and bring one and something like that, you know.
yeah, children's books and adult books.
Adult books, yeah.
No novels.
When we go to Portland, Oregon, which hasn't been for a while, unfortunately, there are a number of them around the neighborhoods in Portland. Portland isn't like any place else in the country, but still they're used. My kids use them. So it's a good thing.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
fun, and it's a nice way to, for folks who don't come to the library, it'll be a nice introduction, you know, and hopefully get people, a few more people through the doors. Good outreach.
Okay, well, carry on. Any more on your report? Or
As you heard, Edna Gillette has passed away. So that was some sad news for us. So the next few things, I'm actually going to tell you about the Dr. Seuss books first. So, and if you saw the front page article about the Dr. Seuss books that were discontinued, we did decide to take them off of our picture book shelves. We got a little bit of pushback on that. We got far more support on that. And we have the books in the building. They're just not on the picture book shelves right now. We're just kind of waiting. Crystal is getting email after email from various children's librarian email lists, and there's articles published every day. So she's just holding on to them and waiting for some of this excitement to die down, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And on a somewhat related note, we do regularly get this gentleman, Richard Peters. I don't know who he is. I don't recall that I've ever met him, but he does send these very long letters to us with conspiracy theories and suggestions like starting the Uncle Tom's Cabin book club. While I'm certainly amenable to speaking to anybody about censorship and how we curate our collections, and this particular individual doesn't really warrant a response. I don't think it would be a productive conversation. I do have the letter if anyone wants to take a peek at it. I can leave it in the Board of Trustees mailbox. Just want you to know in case I think other institutions get these letters as well. I've talked to the folks in the Neighbors in Dialogue steering committee about them. Did anyone have any questions about those items? You're good? Okay. And then, of course, the long range plan, we keep talking about the fact that it's on the back burner. It's closer to the front now. If any board member, so in the past, if you remember 5 or so years ago, we had board members sitting in the outer lobby interviewing patrons,
Right.
and getting feedback about the library and its place in the community. Obviously, in 2021, we're not going to be able to do that. Most of our information gathering will be online. And it will be a smaller time frame, but if anyone is interested in working on that project with us, we have a small team of staff members who have volunteered. So please reach out. I'm happy to have any and all takers. Once the survey is complete, we'll be sharing it with all of you so that you can forward it to anyone and everyone you know as well. And then, I'm sorry, is there,
Yeah, just on the survey, are you sending survey out to veterans, selected veterans, or just anyone that comes to the door?
it
Is
will
the survey
be,
sent out, emailed?
yeah, it'll go out in our email newsletter. It'll go out to emails in the wider, like all of the card holders, because all card holders don't get our newsletter, but we'll send the survey out to card holders. We'll send it out to the Self-Sufficiency Coalition, who will then share it with all their newsletters, the faith communities, all of our partner organizations, and just, you know, cast as far and wide a net as we can.
Just a reminder that the last time we did that, what, 5 years ago?
Mhm.
That long ago. There was quite a volume of data entry that needed to be made into SurveyMonkey, I think it was at the time. It took some time and effort, so I don't want to impose that on a very busy and thin staff at this point in time. Would be good to ask for some volunteers. I would volunteer to sit in on those meetings, and would welcome anybody else from the board who might want to volunteer to do that, to get this plan along the way. And then I think when it comes to gathering or compiling the data, it's going to need maybe some friends would be willing to volunteer to help get that done in a consistent and timely way, without imposing it on staff. Any thoughts?
I think that's a very good suggestion.
Right, so if folks want more information, reach out to me. You have my email, and when there's specific tasks, I'll certainly reach out to all of you to see who has time and availability, or if you have a friend who would like to help. And Charlie, I'll let you know about when we get to sit down to a meeting.
Okay.
So is that meetings with a committee that you're on your staff? Is that?
Yep.
Okay. But we can't do any questioning like we did the last time, where even like later in the year. When is this projected
It's
to be?
due very quickly. It's due in like 5 months. I have my,
So that,
by May, we'll have to have the information in here, so it's pretty quick.
so how many meetings do you think you'll be? We don't know.
Yeah, we're squeezing them in, and honestly, it's a lot of emails back and forth, a lot of Google Docs right now. People are kind of looking at other surveys on their own and looking at our survey from last time to see what's still appropriate.
Oh, I see.
I could help with some of the data input because I did it the last time too. So keep me in mind, Amy.
Thank you, Linda.
Yeah,
What
that might be something I would rather do as
Okay.
well.
what is the purpose of the survey? I mean, I obviously to get opinions, but who,
Yeah,
when you
so
say
we
it's
have to
due,
have-
who is it due to?
It's due to the Mass Board of Library Commissioners, or the Mass Library System, and I feel like I swap their names out all the time, and I apologize. We have to have a long-range plan on file, like that gets approved by them every year, because that's what enables us to have funding. To apply for a lot of grants, you have to have this plan in place. And also, it's just a good I mean, 5 years comes up so much faster than you think. I feel like it was just yesterday we were doing this. It's just good to keep in touch with the community and to hear and to get feedback other than like just what you hear like in the grocery store or somebody puts a thank you note in the book drop type of thing. Just more
Pete?
pointed. I do expect this to be a smaller scale effort than last time, just because, you know, for all of the reasons, you know, pandemic, renovations, new directors, all of the things. But our current long range plan is available on the website, and I expect it to be the new one to be similar.
Very good.
And then
Question.
lastly, the Relay for Life, the local Relay for Life team did a wonderful substitute for their in-person event at the Arts Museum last year. They want to do more of a writing piece this year. And so they're going to be inviting people to put in an essay or a poem about their experience with cancer. And then we hope to have a outdoor reading in June. So the library will be just helping to promote that and reaching new audiences for them.
Sorry about that. Anything else, Amy?
That'll do it.
Okay, questions for Amy? While we're on the subject of staff, and we have several present, Cheryl, I see you've joined us. Welcome.
Thank you.
I just have to say that I think you guys are doing a terrific job in view of all that you're having to deal with right now in terms of holes in the staff as people advance up the ladder, or as people are out for COVID or other reasons, as far as the people who are trooping through the building every day, and the unknown challenges that go along with that. I think you're all doing a fantastic job, and I want you to hear it from all of us. Thanks for putting up with all that you do. These are combat conditions, and we know it. And not a lot we can do about it except to thank you, and hopefully one day when it's safe to do so, to feed you anything we can to keep you going, because I know it's been a real strain, and we see it. We know what you're putting up with. Enough said, but know that we love you and we're doing all we can to make it better for you. A little supplement to some of the things that Amy reported on, the technology lab project. We have gotten to the point where the vendors have been selected. That's kind of the next step in the E-rate funding process, is to select the vendors and go into contract with them, which we are starting to do. Then we need to wait for approval from the E-rate people. So we have our consultant who is heading that process up. We'll see that it's done. We will be adding 16 access points throughout the building for Wi-Fi connectivity. And some of that will be targeted to reach outside the building, so that people, if the library was closed, people could pull up into the parking lot and theoretically get into our Wi-Fi network, which is great. Part of the process includes a managed network and equipment, so that there is somebody out there who is monitoring the network at all times. If we have an issue, we call them. We don't call the IT department in the city. We call our hands-on management staff, and they're also monitoring the health of each component in the network. So if a component goes bad, they know what it is, they'll replace it, and they'll worry about the warranty. Theoretically, we'll all be under warranty. As equipment runs out of warranty, we will go through the E-rate process again to replace that equipment. But it's all going to be very professionally handled for us. The IT department, incidentally, is very happy to see this come along. The idea will be that we don't have any IT people on staff. We want regular staff to be able to pick up the phone if there's an issue, or even better, to have that issue picked up by remotely by the network managers. I think that's the latest on that. We certainly are keeping them in touch with the library's building project manager. As far as the building envelope is concerned, you may have been able to see that the slate roof is essentially done. The rest of the roof is essentially complete, other than some fine tuning of some of the more subtle aspects of that installation. The fourth floor wiring and duct work is essentially complete, and work is beginning in earnest on the third floor. Some of the windows have been removed here and there for measurement in anticipation of the vendor who is going to replace those. Some of the specialty windows, some of those old original windows that are a little bit unusual, or a lot unusual, are being looked at by a specialist to repair them and restore them. That's in process. Some of the recently installed lighting that went into the building was not apparently done according to code. So in the process of replacing the fixtures, the building team has noted that and is bringing things up to code and redoing the wiring where necessary. We've talked in the past about some of the cracks in the wall in the marble room that will be addressed and repaired and repainted. That doesn't include the special plaster moldings around the edge of the ceiling, but I think we should be happy that they're trying to restore the marble room to as much of its original beauty as can be done. HVAC work is underway. One last moment issue which the building team noted on Tuesday was some asbestos was located around window installations. That could be a big issue. It's being assessed right now, and we don't have anything more to report on that yet, but everybody's hopping on that one, so we'll find out what's involved. And let's see, we had state aid on the this part of the agenda as well. We've received word that our waiver for the fiscal year was granted, and we will be awarded $40,611 in state aid, which is around what we expected. So I think that's all I have to say on that piece of the agenda. Are there any questions on anything I just gave you? Okay, hearing none, let's move on to unfinished business. The first item is the SIPA filtering for Cindy. A couple of things would be unfamiliar to you. First of all, we talked about E-rate funding. That is a government program which supports the improvement and upgrading of internet connectivity. It's what was done in the school department. You may be familiar through that venue. All of the Wi-Fi infrastructure that was redone in the Attleboro schools was put through the E-rate program. And what that does is it gives a major discount to the cost of the project. So for example, much of what we're doing is getting a 60% discount off the cost. That's obviously major. Interestingly, in the bill that's just passing through Congress now for COVID relief, there is additional funding going in to really push harder on the idea of internet accessibility and infrastructure. So that program is only going to get better, something we can count on as we go through time here managing technology. One of the provisions of that program, however, is that we must filter our images that are received through the internet for minors, such that we prevent minors from accessing pornographic images. So that leads into the next agenda item, which is the SIPA filtering. That's going to be done at the firewall level. It's part of the E-rate project. So this will be set up by the engineers who are responsible for setting up the firewall. We'll have input into that when the time comes mid-year. But it means that we don't have to go out and search for some software program that has to be installed into our system. That will be built into the firewall. So I guess that's all I have to say on that subject. Any questions on the SIPA filtering? Do you have any questions, young lady? So, no questions from the
I have
cat.
a question, Charlie.
Yes.
With the way it's being installed, will it still have the ability to be shut off, which is supposed to be the case? It
Yes.
does. Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. Yeah.
Okay, any other questions? All right, then moving on to new trustees. We've introduced, Cindy is your nickname, right, Cynthia? Do we call you Cindy?
Yes, it is.
Okay, great. Well, once again, welcome aboard, and we look forward to being sworn in and being a voting member. David Pierce was the other new trustee. The mayor has received his letter and was going to reach out to him as of this afternoon. I don't think he's done that yet. So if he doesn't hear from him in a couple of days, I will reach out to the mayor and jog his memory. But that should happen pretty soon. So by next meeting, I expect him to be on board, and he may join us tonight. He's got another meeting that he's at right now. That covers new trustees. The next item on the agenda is election of officers. We have a nominating committee that is going to propose a slate of officers to us. So I'll turn it over to Diane.
Yeah, and I will turn it over to Judy. Judy will announce the slate of offices.
All right,
Okay.
it's my pleasure to announce these officers who have, pardon me?
I said, thanks for all your help.
Oh, so they are remaining the same, I'm pleased to say. President, Charlie Oliver, VP, Diane Mangiarotti, Secretary, Tricia Svensson, and Treasurer Mahesh Patel.
Are there any additional nominations from the floor? Okay. Hearing none, seeing none, I will ask for a motion to approve the slate of officers.
So moved.
Okay, and a second.
Second,
All right, is there any discussion? All in favor, I will have to call your names. Mr. Patel,
Yeah,
okay. Mrs. Mangiarotti,
Yes.
Mrs. Gould,
Yes.
Mr. Reed,
Yes.
Mrs. Svensson,
Yes.
Mrs. Lusk.
yes.
All right, and I guess I can vote. I'll vote in favor as well. Our bylaws require that the president cannot serve more than 3 years without a waiver of the particular bylaw for the year. So I need a motion to approve waiving the bylaws pertaining to the 3-year term limit for the president.
I move we waive the bylaw for the 3-year term president.
Is there a second? Okay,
Second.
any discussion? All right, we have to vote on that too. Mr. Patel,
yes,
Mrs. Mangiarotti,
Yes.
Mrs. Gould,
Yes.
Mr. Reed, Uh, Mrs. Svensson,
Yes.
Mrs. Lusk.
Yes.
Okay, and I will not vote on that. Very well. So that part of the agenda is taken care of. Thank you again for those who have agreed to serve.
Mhm.
Next item is a review of the bylaws. I sent you this afternoon. I hope you had a chance to take a look. If not, I apologize for sending it out late. I sent out my version of the bylaws with some pertinent changes that need to be made. This is not anybody's work but my own, so it's open for discussion. I hope that tonight we can look at Article 1 and discuss it and make any necessary changes to it. So moving into that, Section 1, Article 1, pertaining to officers. The officers of the Board of Trustees shall be a president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer. And officers shall be elected annually by oral vote at the March meeting. Any changes that you see there? I simply reworded that sentence a little bit, made 2 sentences out of it for grammatical reasons.
Mhm.
Any issues with that as it's been presented? I know we have some good wordsmiths on board, so if there's a better way to say it, speak up. Okay, so Section 1 is pretty straightforward. I hacked away at Section 2, which pertains to the president. I guess I have the right to do that if I'm the president. President shall preside at all meetings of the Board of Trustees and have general supervision over the affairs of the, I crossed out library and put board. The board itself is the supervisor of the affairs of the library, not the president of the board. So I thought that was an important change of wording. Any comments on that? Okay, next I said the president shall exercise the powers and duties which usually pertain to the office. I just simplified that sentence a little bit by crossing out the words perform the. Any issues there? I also shortened the sentence. So it should say such others as, I'm sorry, I added a comma. And such others as may be assigned, that would be duties, such others as may be assigned by these bylaws or by the Board of Trustees. Is that a little more clear?
I think.
Any comment? Okay. The president shall appoint annually and be ex officio member of any standing committee. Any issues there? Good. Well, this is going really well so far. I simplified the last sentence such that it reads, no president shall serve this office more than 3 consecutive terms.
Shouldn't you put in there something about the waiver? We just did it. We just had a waiver to do you for more than 3 years.
We could do that. A suggestion? How would you like to word it?
Well, did we just do it? Is that what we just did, though? Have
We
you been
just did
president
it,
for
which
3
is-
years? Yeah.
That is in our
Oh, no, I'm sure you can do it. You can word it so it goes along, but I just feel like that should be there.
Yeah,
okay.
Well, did we just waive for 3 years or for 3 terms?
You waive
Right.
for 1 term, which is 1 year.
Right, okay.
yeah. So,
This is
So 3 consecutive terms is 3 years?
this is what we had to do for Judge Lee every year. And John Carty was always very diligent to remind us, you have to vote a waiver. So I can serve for no more than 1 year at a time and no more than 3 years consecutively. I will word it such that if
unless there
it
is a
is the
waiver.
board's pleasure to have the president serve additional years, then the board will have to vote to waive that. And I'll come up with some language for that.
No president.
Agreed?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Section 3, I don't believe I made any changes to section 3 about the vice president who will
President.
serve in the president's place. Any suggestions there?
No, I thought didn't need. Seems fine.
Okay, move to section 4. The secretary shall keep the minutes of all meetings of the Board of Trustees and perform such other duties as may be assigned from time to time by these bylaws or by the Board of Trustees. Seems pretty straightforward. I then made, I cut off a very long sentence and made an additional sentence that says the secretary shall conduct all its correspondence and keep a record of same. In the absence of the secretary, a secretary pro tem may be appointed by the president who shall have all the powers and duties of, grammatically, this is not correct. In the absence of the secretary, a secretary pro tem may be appointed by the president. Period, I suggest. The secretary pro tem shall have all the powers and duties of the secretary, it should say. That meet with everybody's approval?
Mhm.
So what is
Could
that
we-
last thing? Go ahead.
I just put a period after may be appointed by the president.
Okay.
And just because grammatically the remainder is incorrect, I said the secretary pro tem shall have all the powers and duties of the secretary.
Delete that last section.
Okay,
One thing, the word "it's," the secretary shall conduct all correspondence.
yeah,
And
we could
keep a-
strike that word. Yeah.
All. Yeah. it-
Correspondence in
All correspondence.
that work.
Do you want to say board correspondence, or do you want to just take that word out?
Board correspondence. I wonder if board should be in there instead of it. Yeah.
Sound good?
Yeah, I think board correspondence sounds good.
Secretary should conduct all board correspondence. Leave
Okay,
out books.
all right. Sounds like consensus there.
Conduct all board correspondence.
All right, I really did a lot of hacking on section 5. And I think this is more realistic about what the treasurer is doing and should continue to do. So I struck out the terms keep all books of account and include therein, and simplified that by saying the trustee shall maintain an accounting of the trust funds of said Board of Trustees and will verify and pay all bills. Seems straightforward. Any objections to that?
Will verify and pay all? Is that what did you say
Yes.
that? Or did we- Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, the treasurer shall present at each regular meeting, a full statement of receipts and disbursements, donations received, and cash on hand. That is our current practice. Any issues there? Okay, you guys are easy. I tell you, when we wordsmith bylaws and other organizations, it goes on for weeks. Okay, let's see, where are we? I added this information. I said prior to the end of the fiscal year, the treasurer with the library director shall prepare a budget for the coming year to be approved by the Board of Trustees no later than its September meeting end of the fiscal year is June 30th. We don't meet in July and August. So the logic there was to vote it at the earliest opportunity, being September. Current practice is just that. The library director compiles a budget along with information that the treasurer, or I've actually been in that capacity to look at the rolling averages of our endowments, which is we have a spending policy, by the way. We should get that out and look at it every now and then. That allows us to spend 4% of the rolling average of our fiscal year end endowment balance. So given that information, which came out this year around $70,000, the library director has typically filled in the budget being that document which is presented during the treasurer's report. That is a compilation of everything we've spent throughout the fiscal year so far. So far, does that sound palatable? Any issues with that, Mahesh?
No.
Okay. Next, the treasurer shall present a full written statement of receipts and disbursements, donations received, and of the cash and securities on hand. Is that a duplication of what we just said? No, I think the implication here is that this is
For the audit.
September meeting.
Yeah.
I will have to word that a little better. I will correct that to say at the September meeting. And I will further correct it by saying for the year. At the end of that sentence, I'll say for the previous year. So let me fix that and read it back to you. So that sentence would read as follows. At the September meeting, the treasurer shall present a full written statement of receipts and disbursements, donations received, and of the cash and securities on hand at the end of the previous fiscal year. That sound okay? Are your heads spinning?
Yeah, I wasn't sure.
Yeah,
Wait,
sure.
can you read the thing all, your changes now so I can? The treasurer one?
From the whole paragraph?
Well, where were you just reading from? I had trouble.
Okay.
Can you take it from the top?
You read it?
Okay, there's more to come, but I'll give you what I've got so far. From the top, section 5, the treasurer shall maintain an accounting of the trust funds of said board of trustees and will verify and pay all bills, period.
Period.
The treasurer shall present at each regular meeting a full statement of receipts and disbursements, donations received, and cash on hand, period. Prior to the end of the fiscal year, the treasurer, with the library director, shall prepare a budget for the coming year to be approved by the Board of Trustees no later than its September meeting. So far, so good? At the September meeting, the treasurer shall...
Where'd that go? Oh, you add that? I didn't see that. Oh, I see. Never mind.
Right, and just now I've added, at the September meeting, the treasurer shall present a full written statement of receipts and disbursements, donations received, and of the cash and securities on hand at the end of the previous year. So far, so good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, carrying on, section 5. Within 3 months after the end of the fiscal year, I put in parentheses June 30th, that is the end of our fiscal year. The treasurer shall submit all necessary financial records to a certified public accountant for review. That again is our practice, although we have not been maintaining timeliness, and we'll have to improve on that. But we do that process right now. Upon receipt of the accountant's review, the treasurer shall present that report to the Board of Trustees for approval. Upon approval, the treasurer shall provide a copy each to the city treasurer and the city auditor. Again, that is what we do. That is current practice, and I think it ought to be in the bylaws. Any problems with that? That does it. I will put that into hard copy, and the next meeting we'll talk about Article 2 pertaining to meetings. So if there are no questions or comments, I will move on to the next item on the agenda, and I thank you for your patience. That was very tedious. I apologize. Let's see, are there any other items of unfinished business which anyone would like to bring up? Okay, hearing none, let's move on to new business. At our interview for our second interview for library director, Amy asked the question of us, who performs the performance review of the library director? And it was a very timely question, and it led to an interesting answer. I immediately referred that to the mayor for his answer, and his comment was, well, I do that. The mayor dug a little deeper and discovered that actually the mayor shouldn't be appointing the library director. As we had thought, and as we have argued before, the Board of Library Trustees is the body that hires the library director. So there was no appointment process to the city council that was required. And the mayor apologized for that and said, I learned something. So those of you who said, I told you so, were right on the money. Question of the performance review of the library director is in our lap. I don't recall that we had a formal process in recent years of evaluating Joan or Christine. And I think we ought to have a formal process. So I would like to appoint a small committee of hopefully 2 people who will look into a sound process for reviewing the library director. I know there are at least 2 sources that can be checked. One is the Mass Board of Library Commissioners that has guidelines on how to review your director. Also, I think that Owen Bebo, the personnel director for the city, would have some input on how other department heads are evaluated. I'd like a report back on that sometime before the end of the fiscal year in June. And I would like Amy, I'd like you to have, have some say in this process too, as to what you think is reasonable, but I'd like to come up with some suggestions. So can I have a couple of volunteers to look into this and make recommendations to the board? Diane, do I see your hand up?
Yep.
Anyone else? Judy? Okay, thank you. So I will leave it to you 2 to work that out, and I will be any help that you need me to be. Thank you. So we'll keep that going. We have time. We didn't hire you until February, Amy. So we've got till then to hatch a plan and review it with you and make sure it's palatable all around. Thank you. Next item on the new business agenda is to approve expenses for we bought a gift, thanks to Diane and Judy for heading up that. You two are turning into a real tag team here, so thank you. But we gave a gift to Eileen Straminsky and to Linda Binns in appreciation of their service.
And it was lovely.
Oh, you like it? Good.
Glad to hear it. So just to formalize it, whatever the expense is on that, we have plenty of money, so I would ask that someone move to approve those expenditures, and we'll pay them when the expense is submitted to us.
I move to approve the expenses.
Second,
All right, thank you.
Funny.
Any discussion? All in, I will say that we have consensus, and I will forego a vote on that. Also, in the same breath, we sent some flowers to Edna Gallette's funeral or wake. I'm not sure which, I guess to the wake. And I'd like your consensus on paying that bill when that comes in. So any objections to that? Seeing none, we'll pay the bill. Finally, long-range plan, we've talked about that. I think we can say that we've addressed that already. Are there any other items of new business which we need to discuss?
Can I bring up one thing?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm just throwing this out there since we are talking about bylaws and all that. Back when I first started on the board, we used to meet at 7 p.m. And then a few years later, someone wanted it at 6. I'm just throwing out, is 6 still the best time for everybody? And maybe you can think about that. And next time we can have a little discussion about it. Maybe 6:30, 7. I don't know if that would be better for people or not, and whether this is working just fine. Just thought maybe give it some thought, and maybe next time we can toss around that idea, whether it's going to stay or whether you would think of maybe just a little later so that it's not 6 o'clock. Anyway, as you can see, I wouldn't mind it changing, but I thought I would propose that. So 6, 6:30, 7.
What are your thoughts out there, people? How many of you have a difficult time with 6 or with 7? Sound off.
6 works fine for me. That's coming up in our next bylaws part too, that we set the time right in the bylaws. So we
Right.
do need to.
But that was changed. So, I mean, it was
Right.
7, then it went to 6, and we could have like an in-between, a 6:30. Anyway, I thought I'd just bring it up.
Okay, I welcome any comments. Judy, did I see your hand go up?
I think 6:30 is reasonable. 7's getting late, especially in the winter, but and we don't meet in summer. Yeah, I think 6:30 is reasonable, but I'm flexible about it. I did want to point out that I did notice Beth's hand went up, and maybe she could join Diane and I, if that would be all right.
I'm sorry, I didn't see that, Beth.
It's if you need me, I'd be happy to help.
Oh, sure.
That'd be great. Love to
The
have you
more
on
the
board.
merrier.
Okay.
Good, excellent.
Great.
One thing I'm wondering, I don't know, it may not have applied here at all, but for the Friends, our meetings were set so that people who lived out, well, everybody here lives in town, of course. When the people that lived out of town could make the meetings right after work. So I don't know if people are working and 6 o'clock is a better time for them, going directly from work to the meetings. That's just another consideration, I guess.
Yeah, I can't remember why we changed it, because it was 7, maybe to make it more convenient for that reason, like you mentioned. But anyway, after doing it for a number of years, I just wondered if anybody was willing to think about a change of some sort.
Well, we'll definitely think about it, and
Yeah, think about it, give it some
we'll
thought.
make a decision that we'll put it on the agenda for next time.
Okay.
One thing I wanted to mention was that several of our recent deaths named the Friends as, the place to make a donation in lieu of flowers. And I've intercepted a couple of communications from Maureen Canner from the Friends. They've received $620 in memory of Jean Vaughn to date. $250 in memory of Edna Gillette to date, and that she didn't pass away that recently. I'm sorry, that she did pass away recently, I should say. Jenny Wall, they've got another $231. And so we're grateful to those people who thought of us and decided that the library should be the beneficiary of our gifts. And we're thankful for that. So anything else before we adjourn? Okay. Looks like we're all happy. One more thing I thought of. I circulated a roster to you. I've heard from most everybody, but just check out your contact information. Make sure I've got it right. Let's see. I think I have to hear from Mahesh. Tricia, I heard from you. Diana, I heard from you. Toby, did you get back to me? Yes.
I did not, and everything was good.
All right. I guess we're good to go then. So thank you for that. I'll circulate that sometime before the next meeting. And our next meeting date is, too many papers in front of me, 14th of April, still at 6 o'clock until we decide otherwise. So thank you all for being patient through that meeting and the tedium of some of it. Welcome again, Cindy, and have a good, healthy month. Get your shots.
Yep.
That's right.
Thank you, everyone.
All
Bye
right,
now.
meeting adjourned.